Hey everybody, it's Anna. Time for the Thursday card in this week's tarot story. So today we have the Five of Swords reversed. So the number 5 is connected to conflict and crisis or opportunity. Swords are connected to the mind. They're about ideas, beliefs, mindsets, strategies, as well as communication. So the 5 of Swords then would suggest that we're in a challenge point in our mind. Okay. The challenge here might look as though there's this guy here. He's the challenge, right? He's standing up there like he's been dueling people all day. He's got multiple swords, like he's won several fights. He's looking pretty pleased with himself. He's smirking. So we might think the challenge is getting past this guy, beating him down or whatever. Maybe we might think that he's won the challenge, right? I would say the accomplishment of the challenge is represented by these guys who are walking away. I think the challenge point of the mind is knowing when not to fight, when the battle is not worth your time, it is fruitless. This is kind of important, I think, because the mind, when it can get it's very connected to its own ideas, right? And if you don't give it some support, it will conflate its ideas with its own survival, which is why some people are so brutal, and all kinds in social media and in the TV and in their relationships. They're so brutal when somebody disagrees with them because their mind thinks that they have to win this battle to survive. Now, if you challenge a mind on that, usually the mind will realize, oh, that's a false conflation, right? But if you don't challenge it, it's just a reaction. That's what happens. So the mind feels like it has to fight to the death because it's you or me, buddy. It's you or me. One of us has got to die. So the 5 of Swords is when the mind is aware enough that it's not reacting. It's not going into that reactionary place of just beating the crap out of somebody. It's aware enough to go, oh, this is not a real thing. It's an opinion's not a real thing. A perspective's not a real thing. They're made up things in the mind. They can be helpful tools, but they're tools we've made up to make sense of something. That's all they are. They're just in the head. They're literally just in the mind. They're not food or air. They're not survival. They're not relationships, none of those things. So the mind, when we give the mind some help, it's able to recognize that this battle is about a delusion, and fighting it, it's just wasting your time and energy. There's no winners here, right? And actually, this sort of stormy sky and above the scene suggests like this is not. There's no winners here. This guy might think he's winning, but he's not. There's no winners here. We just wasted our time. So accomplishing this challenge or successfully meeting this challenge means setting down your sword and walking away, right? This card came to us reversed. And I think this suggests that we are in an invitation to get unhooked from an old pattern, an old mindset that your mind really thought was quite important, helping it realize it's not important. In fact, it's not even real. There's nothing real here. And I think this is, especially in context of this tarot story, which is we started with the Two of Cups reversed and the Wheel of Fortune was yesterday, this idea that the stories we've made up are stories, right? And the stories are there to make sense of our experiences. But the story is just a perspective, and you can rewrite a story. In fact, we might want to rewrite some stories, especially if that story's working against us, right? If you have a story that keeps leading you into, like the Two of Cups reversed, right, which was that idea of you got someone who loves you, but you're pulling back, you're guarding. If you have a story that keeps you from sharing your heart with other people, which means your heart is not free to move in the world and grow in the spiritual path, that story is not serving you, and you may be ready to rewrite that story, to realize it's not real. You've just made it up, and help your mind recognize that it has fallen in love with its own delusion. The good news is that it can always set that delusion down and pick up a new sword. It can go into the world with the soul and the intuition as its partners and write a new story. So consider today where you keep getting caught in this cycle of a fight, like your mind's really committed. If you discover you are raring for a fight, that's the mind committed to a fight for some reason, because it thinks that means you think it's a live or die survival situation. Is it? Is it really live or die survival situation if someone agrees with your politics? I mean, are you going to die? Are you going to run out of air or oxygen? I mean, are you really going to be kicked out of the tribe if someone doesn't agree with your perspective on anything, right? If you really slow down and you get your mind to think about it, you know that's just reactive. There's no reasoning there. Your mind's perfectly capable of reason. It just needs support and challenge from the intuition and the soul to help it pull out of the reaction and accomplish passing through this challenge successfully. That's today's card. See you tomorrow for our next one. Bye.